it seems that Marvel has an affinity for having sophomore slumps. From Iron Man 1 to Iron Man 2, Thor the Dark World, Avengers: The Age of Ultron, you get the point. Other than really Winter Soldier, they have a track record of having sophomore slumps. And it's really upsetting me and my homeboys because, well, damn, if we can't get a good Spider-Man movie from the MCU, where the hell can we get it from? Spider-Man Far From Home brings back John Watts to direct this film. Obviously, you have Tom Holland, you have Zendaya and co. and all of that. This film finally brings Mysterio into the fold, which is somebody I've been asking for since I used to play the Game Boy game, the Spider-Man game. I don't know if you guys know what that is. I used to play a Game Boy game of Spider-Man on Game Boy. I loved him. Mysterio had this hard level on there, and I was like, where are we finally gonna get a Mysterio film? I used to watch the 90s cartoon. I've been waiting for this, so now we finally have him. Per usual, Tom Holland is the GOAT. He is the best to ever play Spider-Man. I also want to preface this. I am a huge Spider-Man fan. Like, literally since I was born, I've been doing everything Spider-Man. Reading the comics, watching the movies. Obviously, I already said playing the games. I'm a huge Spider-Man fan. He is the best. He is the best we have ever seen of all time. And I low-key not close. The rest of the cast is okay, we'll get to that later. The movie does do a good job of showing the world post Endgame. This literally happens like a few months after Endgame. I don't know, they really don't specify, but it kind of shows how the world is post Endgame. The movie is very funny. There are many moments where I legit like there are moments I'm even like covering my mouth. I was laughing so hard. The action scenes in this movie are great. Even though I feel like within all of the, how many Spider-Man movies have we had? How many movies has Spider-Man been in? I still feel like we haven't reached the peak of what Spider-Man action could really be. But in this movie, obviously it's still good. I still feel like we're still getting robbed of like even the scenes that we get in the Spider-Man game that just came out on PS4 of like him swinging through the city. We did get that in the Sam Raimi ones, but I still feel like we haven't reached the peak of Spider-Man action, and this movie doesn't reach it, but it's still good. But the standout of this film is easily there's a scene with Spider-Man and Mysterio where basically Mysterio's doing his illusions, and basically Peter's just like, he does not know what is going on, and he just keeps throwing all these illusions at him. And that's what I really want from Mysterio. I really want the illusionist side of Mysterio, because that's all I've known from him, from the comics, from the animated series, from even the video games to a certain extent. That's what I know of Mysterio, and that was the standout of the whole film. Not even just because that's what I wanted, but it literally was just the best part of the film. But that is kind of at the extent of the best part of this film. My biggest flaw of this whole film is maybe it was too rushed in multiple facets, but mostly the script. Before I get to the script, I will say John Watts kind of takes a backseat in directing. I feel like even the performances he gets from everybody, especially Zendaya, was kind of like, really, like, this is the best you can do? Samuel L. Jackson, it's confusing. When you watch the movie, you'll understand. I wasn't a big fan of his performance. But going back to the script, I feel like in the 2 years that we've had a break from Spider-Man solo movies in the MCU, I feel like they didn't have a compelling narrative. First of all, like, it feels like this was kind of like, okay, we need a movie to come out after Endgame. Yeah, we just had to smash it with Homecoming, so let's just get something out there. I feel like the script was rushed. It just felt like they needed something, so like they weren't able to develop a compelling narrative, that especially one that we got in Homecoming. And this movie is overly predictable. We literally went from like having the main villain be the father of Peter's crush, and it was like, oh my goodness, really? To a movie you can see from a mile away. Jake Gyllenhaal is an actor, I have said over and over again, is probably the most underrated actor in all of Hollywood. I feel like people know he's great, but I really do feel like he is up there with legit some of the greats of all time. In Far From Home, he is just wasted. Just wasted. That's all I can say. He is literally just wasted. And his character of Mysterio, at least from what I know from the comics and the video games and the animated series, he's an illusionist, or in some iterations, well, the original iterations, he is a visual effects person who failed and blah blah blah. But my favorites was always when he was this illusionist. And not to spoil too much, in this film he is not really that. And the reason it's like that is because something that I've seen in MCU movies as a whole is they are making characters fit within the MCU and not letting characters be who they basically not. Basically, the MCU is anchoring down how great these characters are. I guess a better way to phrase it is Mysterio is a product of the already established MCU instead of creating a character who could fit within the MCU and not the other way around. Basically, I would have liked to see Mysterio be a Spider-Man character that could also possibly live in the MCU instead of him basically be a product of the MCU. I really don't want to spoil it, but it's kind of hard to say, but he is anchored down by basically being a product of the MCU. Back to the script. Once again, there's a lot of lazy decisions made throughout the script. There are a lot of character decisions that are just stupid. I'm just like, that's not true to the character, or it's really only in there, just to advance the story, and it doesn't feel genuine. And there's a stupid character that was added to this film who's supposed to be like this teenage foil to Peter, and it just pissed me off. I literally rolled my eyes. There's a story item in this film that is, not to spoil it. If you've seen some of the trailers, maybe it's in, I don't know. I kept away from the trailers. It's not it. Even me just speaking about it is kind of a spoiler. It's not it. It fell flat for me. It just felt like a story device. Just for... I know on this channel I've spoken many times about how I hate exposition scenes. They're just lazy, and it's just a way of explaining the story without showing me the story. They are literally the laziest thing a filmmaker can do, second to narrating throughout the whole film. In Far From Home, there's literally a big exposition scene. Well, it's not big, but it's like 5-minute exposition scene where it's kind of like, alright guys, well let me explain No, you gotta show me. You have to make me feel what's going on. You can't just have a conversation to basically the audience, even though it's a conversation to a group of people. So it's like, alright guys, let me explain everything. It's kind of like, no, it's just lazy, and it's pathetic. And I saved this bit for the last part, and it's really the part that's probably upsetting me the most. The MJ and Peter relationship is probably the most recognizable relationship in comic books, second to like Clark Kent and Lois Lane. And they still may be number one. In this film, there's so much going on to where we don't really get the intimate scenes with MJ and Peter for that relationship or whatever feelings to grow to where it gets to the point to where it's like, okay, we need to have MJ be with Peter, so let's just kind of like finagle our way to get there, and then now they're I like you to where like it doesn't feel genuine. We didn't get that build up into that relationship, I should say. Yeah, it felt rushed. There wasn't enough screen time for it to flourish because there was so much going on throughout this film to take away from all that screen time. And I think that may be my biggest flaw of the whole film, is that everything is so bloated in this film. Because this is a Spider-Man movie within the MCU, you need to have a Nick Fury, you need to have this characters already in the MCU, and we're taking time away from what really is the best part of these Spider-Man movies, which is the villains, his relationship with MJ, and Peter Parker. You're trying to overbloat this film and put all of this and that instead of focusing on what is the best part of Spider-Man. So yes, Tom Holland is the best Spider-Man we've ever seen. The action scenes are great. The movie's hella funny. Michael Giacchino scores. It's Michael Giacchino. He's always going to be great. But if I'm being honest with you, I feel like Marvel sacrificed this film to just be a post-Endgame movie. It doesn't feel like a true Spider-Man film. Yes, there are Spider-Man-like moments that's like, okay, that's dope. But it feels like this is just a Spider-Man movie as a product of the MCU, and not a Spider-Man movie that just happens to be within the MCU. So, I am going to give Spider-Man Far From Home a 7. Yeah, I was really underwhelmed with this one. This one kind of hurts. Spider-Man is like my everything. I was looking forward to this the most. Probably one of my most anticipated movies of the year. Yeah, I was kind of underwhelmed. Yeah, I should have more reviews for you guys soon. And, yeah, see you guys later.